Hello, welcome to Alyssa Jean's Reviews. My name is Alyssa, and this is my review for Star Trek Picard Season 2, Episode 10, Farewell, and farewell to this season. Thank God. The standard spoiler warning applies. You will have needed to see up through the end of this episode in order to watch this video, blah, blah, blah. But if you have not seen this season yet, turn back now and don't waste your time. So, let me go through it, I guess. So, let me see. Picard Season 2 once again continues to have poor writing. As I've talked about before, we have, like in Episode 7, we had two different plots, unrelated plots with the same characters, where we had the beginning, a conflict, and a resolution or cliffhanger, and then you had two of those, and it just doesn't make any sense. This episode had about 15 of them, I think. And also, what else does I say in my notes here? You know what? Fuck it. I don't care anymore. I'm done. I'm not going to go through each individual character and their storyline and talk about each plot point and talk about each little flaw, because if I went through each flaw in this episode, that would take me forever. I mean, I could spend the time on the absurdities, like Dr. Soong bullying his way like an asshole into quarantine, which quarantine means quarantine. Nobody's allowed in quarantine. So that he could kill one of the key astronauts. And I could talk about each little absurdity, because there are many plot holes, and I just don't have the energy. I just did a great review for, the review wasn't great, but I did a review for a great episode of Star Trek in Strange New Worlds. That is going to be a fantastic show, so please check out my review for that. You can see me being a lot more positive. I do have some critiques of that particular episode, but my outlook for the show overall is very, very positive, and I can't wait to continue watching it. But we're with Picard. I can't do it anymore. I just can't. However, I do have to talk about at least this one thing. And what did they do to poor John Delancey? What a great actor that they totally misused and ruined in this season, just so they can get some cheap, heartfelt moment between him and Picard, and gets just a jerk on your heartstrings and force feed emotions where none are actually earned. I had said before that we didn't know what Q's motivation was. And we needed to know that right from the beginning in order for this to work. I said, I'm sure we'll get what Q's motivation is by the end of the season, but by then it'll be too late. And you know what? I am not really sure we ever really got what his motivation was. Why was he trying to change the timeline? So the only thing that I can gather from this, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but he was pretending to change the timeline, but he never really meant to change the timeline. Like, he knew that Picard would be successful somehow, so he never really meant to change the timeline. So he pretended to try to change the timeline in order to get Picard to face his childhood demons and face the facts about his mother and his guilt about his mother. Am I getting that right? That is the most convoluted plot I've ever seen in my life. It makes no sense. Is that what it was? Like, I don't know what else it could be. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. This whole thing was a jumbled mess of garbage. You just take different pieces of paper and you just crumble them together and just throw them around. And that is the plot of Star Trek Picard. That is the writing of Star Trek Picard this season. It is absolute garbage. I might as well just take another piece of paper and just crumple it up and just throw it because this is so frustrating. I know this isn't a very sophisticated review, but it's not a very sophisticated television show. I just don't even know where else to begin with this mess. I had said previously that I liked the idea of the Borg Queen that we saw in the first episode with the mask being the Jurati Borg Queen. But you know what? It was so predictable and obvious that by the time the reveal happened, it was very anticlimactic because we all knew that it was happening, and it makes no sense. I don't think they ever said that it was a different timeline. So are we to assume then that the regular Borg Queen still existed? So this version of the Borg Queen with Jurati, it was formed with a Borg Queen from an alternate timeline, the Confederation timeline, that joined with Jurati. So they went and formed a different Borg over a period of 400 years that existed side by side with the Borg that we know. Is that what I'm to get out of this? Is that what I'm supposed to get out of this? Okay. Deep breaths. And I told you Eleanor was going to come back. I mean, if you watch Star Trek, then you know they don't kill main characters unless the actor or actress is planning to leave the show or has been fired from the show. The only two main characters that have ever been killed have been Tasha Yar and Jadzia Dax. So there aren't any stakes on Star Trek. I got into this big argument with my brother recently about Lower Decks, where he said, well, now after this cheap trick when they brought Shax back to life, now there's no stakes for any of the characters. There's never any stakes in any of the characters. Let me tell you a little secret. If you're watching Star Trek and you see a main character die and you go online and you read about the actor and there's nothing explicit about the actor quitting the show for sure, that character is still alive. Because the only characters that have ever been killed off, main characters, have been when the actor is leaving the show. Otherwise, there are no stakes in Star Trek. There never have been. I will give them credit for at least not pulling the timeline trick. Oh, we've saved the timeline, so now Eleanor is magically back to life. They passed it off as a Q thing. Sure. Why not? That may as well happen. Sure. Sure, but I told you Eleanor wasn't going to die. Main characters don't die in Star Trek. So I really wish they would stop pretending to kill off main characters. It's beneath them, honestly. Just stop it. And I do want to mention Will Wheaton. You know, I'm glad that he got his cameo. I watch The Ready Room pretty regularly, and I do find him to be a bit annoying. But he seems like a genuinely good guy and someone who just from the bottom of his heart loves Star Trek as much as any of us, like probably more so than any of us. And I know that he always wanted to get a little cameo in Picard. So I'm glad that they gave that to him. I do. Honestly, I feel good for that guy. I'm glad he got that. But every word that came out of his mouth was nonsense. It was garbage. That is not remotely what the Travelers are. The Travelers are not some organized group of timeline defenders. That is not at all. It actually cheapens what the Travelers actually are. We don't fully know or understand what the Travelers are, and that what always made them really intriguing is that the Travelers are something that is just beyond our reach of understanding. They are not some organized group of time travel defenders. That is just nonsense. That is the most ridiculous retcon that I've ever seen. Okay, it's not the most ridiculous retcon. It's hyperbole, but it just made no sense. Nothing in this episode made no sense. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't go through every single one of these. I am finished. I am done. So long, farewell to Star Trek Picard. Maybe season 3 won't really suck. Thank God for Strange New Worlds. I'm so happy about Strange New Worlds. Okay, I know that, as I said, this is not a very sophisticated review, but it's not a very sophisticated show either. So I'm going to give my rating, I'm going to say negative 20 billion. Because if the writers of Star Trek Picard can just write down a bunch of gobbledygook and pass it off as a professional television show, then my rating can just be a bunch of gobbledygook too. Like, who even cares anymore? Who even cares? Actually, no, I will give a real rating, and this is a rating to represent my feelings for the entire season. Now, to be clear, it's not the rating for the season. I would have to think about what my overall rating for the whole season would be. But I need to give this episode a 1 because I'm just frustrated with the whole thing, and by the time I get to this point, I've had it up to here. Now, last week I ended up giving it a 5 because I was trying to throw it a bone. I was trying to give it some grace, but we're back to a 1, which is actually the lowest score that I've given an episode. This was garbage. It was gobbledygook. It had 15 different plot lines in it. I was trying to force feed false emotions that were not earned. Made no sense. So it is an absolute 1, and I'm so glad that it is over. And for you all, this review is over, so you can stop watching me act like a crazy person. If you want to see me act much more enthusiastically, go ahead and watch my review for Strange New Worlds. Also, please check out all of my other content. I just put up my review for Moon Knight, so you should check that out. And I will be talking with my brother Mark from Enchantment of Eternity on Saturday, May the 7th at 6 p.m. West Coast time over on his channel, Enchantment of Eternity. We're going to be talking about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I think at some point we are going to get together and do a bitch fest about Picard and just rant and rave some more about it. So if you want to see more ranting, you can look for that. But I don't think we have a date and time set for that yet. So just keep an eye on my channel and on his channel for that announcement. Okay, everyone, that's it. I'm done. I'll see you next week for Strange New Worlds Season 1, Episode 2, my review of that. And have a good time, everybody. Goodbye.